Hello Year 7, hope you're all okay. So today's lesson is all going to be about Earth and seasons. We're still on the universe topic, but today we're going to be looking at explaining the movements of the Earth. So it's another double lesson. In the first half, you're going to make some notes on the key points and complete the gap fill activity. We're going to watch a video and answer some questions, and then from your own notes and what you've learned, you're going to have a go at forming your own explanations for different scenarios. Finally, you're going to have a go at matching the statements to their explanations to help consolidate your learning. In the second half, you're going to have a go at using everything you've learned so far to answer the big question, okay? So it'll be a detailed exam question explaining in detail what you would experience throughout the year if the axis of the Earth was not tilted. There'll be lots of help and support for you to do this, but first we need to get started with the first half of the lesson. As always, we're going to start with a Do Now Connect activity. So I want you to think back to the last couple of lessons we've done on the solar system, and I want you to have a go at answering these questions. So they get slowly a little bit more difficult as we go through, but you should be able to answer all of those. You may need to go back and look at your notes, but that's absolutely fine. Remember, these aren't being marked, so just jot down your ideas and your answers on a piece of paper, and then we'll see how we get on as we work through today's lesson. Okay, so we're going to start off with day and night, and you're going to need to make some notes on this slide. What I'd like you to start by doing is using what you already know about the Earth, explain how and why you think we have day and night. Okay, now pause while you do this, and then afterwards, if you click through, you'll get some answers to that question. Okay, so you can add in whatever you have missed and make notes on day and night for me. So here, I'd like you to use your notes from the previous slide on day and night and your own knowledge to have a go at filling in the gaps to complete the paragraph. Okay, there's an image there to help you, and if you are unsure, I've left you a bluey green box at the bottom with some keywords in that you might need to help you fill in those gaps. Okay, just jot those down, fill in the paragraph, and we're going to use some of this information a little bit later to complete our apply task. Now we've considered day and night then, and we've thought about how the Earth movements are related to the fact that we have day and night. I want us to consider why we have seasons, okay? So there's a little bit of information there for you about the seasons we have, okay, about what causes them, what happens, and there's also a video that I'd like you to watch. So you need to click on the video for me. Again, you just need to click on that video recorder picture when you've got the slide in the present format, and it should just open for you. I'd like you to watch the video and answer the questions. So you might need to just familiarise yourself with the questions first so you can listen out for the answers as you watch the video. Again, you're not being marked on this, but you do need to jot down your answers so we can use them a little bit later on, okay, and you can refer back to them as you need to. Okay, so this is just a little bit of a recap of what you should have just covered in the video and your questions. It just shows you a picture of the Earth when summer is happening in the UK and when winter is happening in the UK. And you can see that the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun in summer and away from the sun in winter. Okay, there's also a little bit more detail there about the temperature, the amount of daylight hours we have. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is use what you've learnt so far from the video and the previous slide to have a go at completing that paragraph for me by filling in the gaps. You should have some nice complete full sentences then, and then you can move on to have a go at the diagram task. All you need to do is label the North and South Pole and your northern and southern hemispheres, okay? If you want to add a few countries to help you out, then by all means do. We're now going to have a go explaining seasons in our own words, okay? So before we do that, I think it's important that you have a go at filling in these gaps to complete the sentences using what you have covered so far in today's lesson. Now, one or two of you will be able to do that easy peasy. If you need a little bit of help, there are some keywords at the bottom. Don't forget that you can go back and forth through your notes. You can pause this and go back through the slides if needs be to help you fill in these sentences. So as I said, we're now going to form our own explanations. So using what you've done so far, using your gap fill on the previous slide and your notes from the entire lesson, I'd like you to have a go at writing an explanation for each of the questions on this slide. Imagine that you are trying to explain this answer to a year 6 student, okay, that's starting this school next year. This is the last piece of work then that you're going to do on this half of the lesson on the earth and its movements. So what I'd like you to do is consolidate your learning by matching the statements with their explanations. So choose the best explanation for each statement. Some of them might match more than one, but you just need to choose the best fit. Okay, if you jot these down on a piece of paper, or you can do it in a Word document, whatever's easiest. And this is the last thing we're going to do to prepare for our apply tasks in the next half of the lesson. Okay, so as I said, it's a double lesson. This is the second half of the lesson. So this is where we're going to do our apply task, and we're going to answer the big question on explaining the movements of the earth. And this is what you're going to submit to your teachers, okay? The apply task then for the lesson on earth and the earth's movements is to answer this big question. The big question is explain in detail what you would experience throughout the year if the axis of the earth was not tilted. So in your answer then, you need to make sure that you're including the differences between the seasons, why you think seasons happen, as well as predicting how seasons would be different if the earth's axis was not tilted. To do this, I suggest you go back through your notes from today's lesson. We've covered in lots of detail about why seasons happen, the impact of the Earth's axis being tilted. Now, when you're answering this question, it is an extended response question. That means that you're going to be marked on your spelling and grammar, as always, but you're also going to be marked on organising your ideas and information clearly. So think carefully about how you structure your answer. Make sure it's well written, you're using full sentences. It's also really important that you use key scientific words. So look back at some of the words we've used in this lesson. Make sure you've picked out some of the ones that you think we need to include in this answer. When you're doing this answer, you need to either write your answer in a Word document, or if you're not able to do that, you can do it on paper, that's fine, but it must be submitted to your teacher so your teacher can have a look over it and give you some feedback. Now, for some of you, you might need a little bit of extra support to do this task. That's absolutely fine. What I've done is I've included a support sheet for you to help you plan and structure your answer to this question. As always, it's really important that we've consolidated our learning. So once you've completed your apply task, this is the last thing we're going to do today. Now, I know it's not Christmas, but we are going to do a Christmas postcard to Australia for this consolidation task. Now, this consolidation task, there's going to be 3 choices for you to choose from. So bronze, silver and gold, as we've done in the past. I want you to choose which task you want to do and complete it for me. This isn't going to be marked, this is for you, just to go through and make sure that you're happy with what we've covered and that you understand fully what we've learned today. So if you want to do the bronze task, you are stating and describing the seasons in Australia. So here in Australia it is. Remember, we're talking about at Christmas. For silver, we're explaining why there are seasons on Earth. And for gold, comparing why it is in winter in England but summer in Australia. All these things link to what we've done today. Pick whichever one you'd like to do and complete that for me.